3 over 2 h, right? It would be just what? Half of that, right? So some of you see it as 3h over 2.
Mhm.
Is it the same thing, me writing 3 over 2h? Yes. Okay, great. Awesome. Let's see. Find. What are we trying to find? I don't know if we're going to need this, but I'm just putting it there. The rate of change of the what? So that's what? dH dt. When? So when h equals 15 feet. Okay, given? dV over dt equals 10 feet cubed per minute. Ooh, it's volume, right? Okay, got that one right. Alright, so what's the equation we probably need for this step? The volume of a cone. So what would that be? 1/3 pi r squared h. We just used it, guys. Come on, let's go. Wake up. 1/3 pi r squared h. Okay. So let's look at our problem and see what it is that they're giving us, or what is it that we want. So they're giving us, we want dH dt and they're giving us h. So do we know anything about r?
Yes, it's 3 over 2.
We didn't know anything about r, right? But maybe at that point they could have decided, well, let me figure out what r is, right? And r would be half of the diameter, right? Which would be 3 over 2h. So what do you think we should do? Plug in 3 over 2h, right? So we're going to replace r with that, so that way it makes it easier to work with, okay? So we need this to be in terms of what? Of h, right? So use d equals 3h and r equals 3 over 2h, right? To solve it. Ready? So this is really going to be v equals 1/3 pi. What's the radius? 3 over 2h squared times h. What's 3 over 2 times 3 over 2? 9 over 4. So we have 1/3 pi, 9 over 4, h what? Squared times h. I'm taking it step by step for you. Now we could multiply 9 over 4 and 1/3, or we could reduce, right? This 3 goes away and this becomes a what? A 3. So really the volume is what? 3 over 4 pi h what? Cubed. Now I finally got to my simplified form of the volume formula, only in terms of h. Again, I know that I need it in terms of h because of what I'm given and what I'm trying to find. Okay? So let's do it. Differentiate it. What do we get? dV dt equals 9 over 4 pi
H, so 3h squared.
h squared
Oh, h squared.
dH dt. Right? Where did that 3 go from the top?
Oh,
Times that one, right? So that's how I got that 9. Make sure you don't put 6, okay? 3 times 3 is 9, right? Okay. Can we replace what we know? What's dV dt? 10 equals 9 over 4 pi, what's h? 15 squared dH dt. So let's get rid of parts at a time so we don't make our life that difficult. So let's start off by getting rid of 9/4, especially since we don't have a calculator. Okay, so how can I get rid of 9/4? Times 4 over 9. So let's get rid of that guy. So that ends up being 40 over 9 is equal to, what's 15 squared? 225. So 225 pi dh dt. Now let's get rid of that 225 pi by doing what? Dividing by it, right? Now really all I have to do is multiply 225 times 9. Okay? So to do that, let's do 9 times 200 instead of 9 times 225. What would 9 times 200 be? 1800, right? 9 times 2 is 18 and add the 2 zeros. Are we okay? So we have 1800, but we're still missing how many 25s? How many 25s? 9. So if I had 9 25s, 9 quarters, how much would that be? 4 quarters is 100, another 4 quarters is another 100, so that's 200. And we got one more, so that's how much? 225, right? So 225 plus 1800. Now do 1800 plus 200. 2000 plus that one extra 25, so we get what? So this is 40 over 2025 pi equals dr, no, dh dt. And what are the units there? Feet per minute. Good? Can we simplify? Probably. Do we have to? No. What goes into 40 and into 2025?
5,
5? Okay, how many 5s into 40?
8,
8? And 5s into 2025?
405.
Okay. So you're saying 8 over 405?
Yeah.
Feet per minute? Pi, just kidding.
Wait, did I do that right?
I don't know.
The 405, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Boom.
How many 5s into 2000?
Oh, like a lot.
Like a lot.
Like a lot? Like 400, right?
Like lots.
And
Like
then how many 5s into 25?
no, like a lot. Yeah.
Like a lot. Like a ton.
5.
Oh my gosh.
405.
That really is.
Break the number down, okay? So you can work with it.
Almost like a picture.
One more? We got 10 minutes. We could probably do this one in 10 minutes.
Me too, noise.
Yeah?
Save these for tomorrow.
I don't want to do anything.
You don't want to do anything?
I mean,
We have to do this one, guys. Come
Let's
on.
do this one tomorrow so we can wake us up and boom.
Let's finish it. We gotta finish strong.
We're ready for calculus.
Okay? Let's finish strong, okay? Here we go. Gotta get us to this one. So it says an inverted cone has a height of 9 centimeters and a diameter of 6. So
what?
they're telling you the cone already has that size. Okay, it's not gonna change. It is leaking water at a rate of 1 cubic centimeter per minute. Okay, so what's changing?
The water.
The what of that cone is changing?
The height.
The volume, right? So it's leaking. The volume is changing. At a increasing rate or decreasing?
Increase.
Decreasing, therefore its rate is what? Negative.
Negative.
Find the rate at which the water level is dropping when h equals 3. Okay, they want the rate at which the what?
Water
The
level.
water level is dropping. Okay, so I have this cone, and the cone is not changing. Right?
Yeah.
The radius of that cone is always going to be what? 3. And the height of that cone is always going to be what? 9. That's given in the problem.
Oh, I see.
Okay? What's going to be changing though? Will the radius of the liquid in it be changing? Will the height of the liquid inside be changing?
Yes.
Yes. Will both things be changing? Yes, because the radius when it's full is this much, and when it starts leaking, the radius of that surface is changing, right? So two things are changing. Okay, so at some point in time, the radius is gonna be r, and the height is gonna be h, right? Are we good? Alright, so now let's set it up. Let's do Fuigi. What are we trying to find? Rate at which the water level is dropping. dH dt. Why is it not dV dt? That's the height of the water, right? The water level is not the same as the amount of water in there. Okay. Find when h equals 3 centimeters, right? Given dV dt, the water is leaking -1 centimeters cubed per minute. So the water is leaking, therefore I had to put what? Negative. The volume is decreasing. Okay. What equation would we use? The volume of a cone. Good. You're a good guesser. So volume equals what? 1/3 pi r squared h. Oh, you learned it finally. Okay. So let's look at our problem and what are we solving for? dH dt, and what are we given? H. Don't get this confused with what was given at the beginning, that 9 and that 3. Okay, that's just the size of the cup. Okay? That's never going to change. What's changing, or what we're talking about, is what's inside the cup, right? The liquid. The radius and the height of that liquid is changing. Yes? All right, so what does this equation need to be in terms of? H. So that means we need to figure out what is R, okay? So let's write that down. Needs to be in terms of what? Of H. So we have to figure out how H and R are related. Using what? Similar triangles. Do you see the two triangles that are created there in the picture that I drew? Okay, we got a big triangle, right? And what are the measurements in that one? How much is the top here? On the side? 9. On the small one, wherever it's at, it's going to be R, and this is going to be H of it, right? So let's set up our proportions so we can see how they're related to each other. You can already tell, right?
I know.
You know the height is how much of the radius? This is 3 times as big as that one, right? We already know that, but let's set it up to figure that out. Okay? So what would we do? 9 over H equals 3 over R, cross multiply. 9R equals 3H. Do I want this to be R equals or H equals? H equals? We want to replace H?
No.
R equals, right?
Yeah, sorry.
So let's divide by 9 and figure out what R is. So R is going to be 1/3 of the height, right? And now we can do what with it? So substitute R equals 1/3 each. So see what I mean? On this problem, they didn't tell you that already. On the other 2 examples, they already told you that in the problem. So it was kind of easy, right? Here, the only difference is you got to do this before you can plug something. Not too bad? All right, so let's finish strong because we got about 2 minutes. So here we go. Volume equals 1/3 pi. What's the radius? 1/3 h squared times h, right? All right, what's 1/3 times 1/3?
1/6.
1/9, right? So we got 1/3 pi, 1/9. H squared and h, that's gonna give us h what? Cubed. 1/3 and 1/9 gives us 1/27. Are we okay? And now can we differentiate? So we got dv dt equals 3/27 pi h squared dh dt. And let's plug in what we know. What's dv dt? -1 equals, what's 3/27 become? 1/9? So 1/9 pi times what's h? 3 squared dh dt. 3 squared is what? 9, and we got a 9 down here, so do they cancel out? So we got -1 equals pi dh dt. Divide by pi. So dh dt equals,
-1/.
should it have been negative?
Yeah.
Was the water level supposed to be going down?